Bow, 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 bow,
Okay, I wasn't sure where you were going with that. I had an idea.
bow, bow, bow. Anyways,
Are we actually going?
yeah, we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just turned on the click for a second.
Cool.
That we could hear, no one else can.
Cool.
Imagine if I had the click on the whole time, the whole episode.
There's probably an episode out there that we've done that.
No, because I never turn it on.
We've had just about all of the technical glitches.
Oh my God, last week, so bad. I apologize.
Apologies.
We lost so much. All right, so I'm going to talk about... Okay, so I'm Bo.
I'm Brandon.
This is Two Tunes Podcast.
This is my Starbucks.
Where we talk about Two Tunes.
This is my branded ad.
Last week was a covers episode. This is, we're in the new neck. Does the decade start with 1 or does the decade start with 0?
It should start with 0 because that's where the first number changes. So if it's like 90, and then 99 is the 10th thing, and then 100 is the new.
All right, cool. So we're in a new decade.
The 110s.
The 110s.
What happened historically in the year 110? Let's find out. You do that.
I'm okay. But no, I want to talk to you about this thing.
Okay.
So, the menu.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, it's so good. I'm not going to tell you anything.
Yeah, don't.
What?
So here's the thing. You're always like, oh, let me talk about this thing. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to tell you everything about it.
That's not true.
And then I'm going to tell you, like, not the exact twist or the other thing, but I'm going to give you so much information about it
what was the
that you're
thing?
going to know what it is.
Did
You've
I
done
ruin
it a bunch of times.
What did I ruin last?
I don't remember.
Okay. What I'm going to interview.
But this is what you do.
I'm going to interview. What is the menu about?
So what I think the menu is about.
Okay, first off, what genre is it?
I think it's kind of a thriller.
Okay.
Based on the trailer things that I've seen.
Okay.
It looks like a bunch of Richie Riches or whatever somehow get to go to this like special island or something to have a meal cooked by this chef, and they're going to have the most delicious food. But then it turns out that they're the prey, and maybe they're going to be on the menu. That's what I think based on the trailers, and so much so that I'm like, did the trailer give away like this whole movie?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I went in not knowing anything.
Okay.
I thought it was a comedy.
Oh, no, I did not.
And it is
I mean,
not.
I figured there was like a dark comedy.
It is a dark comedy. It is very good. I wish that people would not know anything about it.
Right.
Because if you go in and you don't know anything about it, you're just like, okay, this is cool. And then like some weird things happen and you're just like, okay, that's weird. And I kind of want to go to that experience. Not like where what you said, they become the menu.
Okay.
Which is not accurate.
Okay.
But
I figured it couldn't be that exact. Like,
yeah.
That, again, that's what it makes it seem like. So I was like, you can't be giving away this much of the.
Yeah, they kind of give it away, but not really.
Fair enough.
What I did know before, which didn't even happen. So John Leguizamo's in the film, and he plays an actor.
Okay.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Who like A-list
Yeah.
actor.
Okay.
Originally, that character was supposed to be Daniel Radcliffe playing Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, okay.
And there's a thing where the reasons
I'm imagining now if this was like a terrible movie, like a terribly like produced movie and whatever, is that they couldn't like they write this movie that guy's going to be Daniel Radcliffe played by Daniel Radcliffe, and so like there's all these things of like you reference Harry Potter and you reference Equus and you reference this and that and the other, but then like they don't actually get him. Yeah. But they get John Leguizamo or whoever, but then leave all that stuff in. Okay. That would be really funny to me. That sounds like an SNL sketch where they're like, oh, but he's not here. You got to stop saying it like that. Anyway, so that would be funny.
Yes, that would be great. So the actor's there because they did this role. Okay.
You're going to spoil this movie.
I'm not, because I'm talking about Harry Potter that didn't happen. Okay. Or not Harry Potter, but Daniel Radcliffe. So it's supposed to be Daniel Radcliffe as Daniel Radcliffe.
Correct.
And the reason he's there is because of his role in in Victor Frankenstein as Igor.
Oh, okay.
So like it's the Frankenstein story told from Igor's perspective, and Daniel Radcliffe plays Igor.
Was that a movie or a play or something he did? It was a movie?
No, it's a movie, yeah. And it's got the guy from X-Men Origins, the Scottish guy who played Professor X.
James McAvoy.
Yes. So that's a thing. It has nothing to do with the film at all. Okay. It's just like this could have happened.
But that's their thing.
And would have been, I think, more funny than what actually goes on in it. But it's really, really good. Okay. Like go see it.
I've seen people like post about it, like, oh my gosh, I'm still thinking about that. That's
yeah,
really affecting
but
me.
also I want to go to an experience like that, as I think I already said,
Sure.
where like I want to be like, let's go to dinner, and like it's like the menu is a story, right? Like told through food.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's a really interesting premise. Like, because like when I eat, I'm just like, I want to steak.
Shove in your face.
Just like,
yeah. There's a the Lost Kitchen. Have you heard about that?
no.
So she's got like a TV show now and stuff on like Magnolia, but this, I don't know how her whole story, but like she opens up this restaurant like in like, I think I want to say if it's like the type of typical thing you hear about, it's like I worked as like a big city chef in New York and whatever, and like the rat race and blah blah blah, but then I like moved to like rural North Carolina and opened up a place. And then I think that's kind of what this person's story is. I don't totally know, but she has a place, I think, like in rural North Carolina, and it's like this like real exclusive restaurant kind of thing. Like they would only serve like so many meals per year, and it was like a big thing, and it would cost so much, and like only so many people could go. But it was like this whole experience kind of thing. And I've heard of like other places like that as well, where they just kind of like do these things. But anyway, so
yeah, but there's a story with the food, which is like what I want to experience.
Okay,
I don't want that story because that would be bad.
Fair enough. But watch the menu is what you're saying.
Go watch the menu.
Okay.
I've got one more thing to talk about, but we'll talk about it at the end.
So speaking of Harry Potter and Daniel Radcliffe, I went to the Harry Potter store when I was in New York the other week, and it was all right.
How do you feel about? Did you buy anything?
No, because J.K. Rowling's a turf.
There you go.
But that's not the only reason. Mostly, I just didn't like. I like, regardless of that, I like Harry Potter stuff. I don't love Harry Potter stuff, and I don't mean that in the way of like that I dislike it. I just mean like, that is not where my obsessions lie.
Oh yeah, it's Groot.
My obsessions are into Groot and Marvel stuff and records and books and things like that. So that's where I would prefer to spend my money. Now, had I seen something like really cool that kind of grabbed me, sure. The other problem is that I'm a Hufflepuff and I don't look good in yellow. So so that's like all the Hufflepuff merch I could want, I don't.
Yeah.
So
did you see there's a meme where like they're like in defense against the dark arts, and it's like Hufflepuff, and she's just like I'm killing everything, and then it's like here's like the other students looking at all the Hufflepuff kids, and they're just like, oh my god, they're gonna kill everyone, and then like Slytherin is like, ha ha ha, ha. Yes, they're killing everybody.
Nope.
Oh no, I didn't explain it well.
This has been Bo Explains a Meme Poorly.
It's not a meme. Meme is a copy thing, and this is original.
Sure.
I got one.
So anyway, but I went there. It was all right.
No, it's me.
No,
it's me. No,
it's me.
I'm
All right,
talking.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I went there. It was all right. I got some butterbeer.
What
it was
is
like on tap?
What is
it's
butterbeer?
cream soda? It's cream soda. That's all it is. It's butterscotch soda.
Okay.
But that was good. They had like a frothy cream thing on top, which was good. Okay. I like it frozen, which they have down in Universal.
Speaking of records, new records coming out.
Just expel a lot of air from your face.
I know.
Yeah,
crap. Who is it? Boy Genius. So people are like, "Oh, they're taking pictures together. Maybe they're releasing a new album." And guess what? It is. It's called The Record, and I bought it on vinyl already.
Nice.
It's coming out in March.
They're taking pictures as if they are Nirvana.
Yes, they did. I didn't. I realized the first ones that I saw, which was.
Yeah, like some of them are like very famous Nirvana pictures.
They're all of them.
Well,
like
but I mean, like some of them
idea.
are very like you see Boy Genius in this pose in these outfits, and you're like, well, that's Nirvana. But there were some of them that I didn't realize like they were all Nirvana at first when I saw them.
Which one didn't you?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember
there's two.
There's like 3 or 4, right?
There's 2 different setups.
Okay.
So one is them in suits.
Yeah.
And the other is them in dresses, which.
Maybe that was
doesn't really play well. I mean, it does, but whatever. Because it's like, well, I don't want to say that because like I don't know their gender, but like, never mind.
Okay,
they're wearing dresses, and it's not like.
But Nirvana was wearing dresses.
Yes,
which was like we're in drag or whatever, but like not necessarily. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But did you watch the interviews or like the small clips? Of them where they're like,
if you send me something on TikTok, maybe.
And it's like, so I'm Kurt, and like she's Dave Grohl because she looks like Dave Grohl, and then she's like, and this is crap. Why am I Julian Baker?
Okay,
and Julian's like, do I look like Dave Grohl? It's like not that it's a bad thing, but do I really look like Dave Grohl? And it's like
Dave Grohl's kind of specific looking. So
I also thought, speaking of last week's episode about Powerpuff Girls. I'm like, they could pull off the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that should be cool. I'm interested to hear that.
Yeah, I've listened to the 3 songs that they released, and I think that's like it's like this is the Phoebe Bridgers song, this is the Julian Baker song, and this is
the Lucy
song. Lucy, which I need to listen to her more because I've listened to the other 2.
You're more familiar with the other 2, yeah.
Yeah, and actually that ties well into where we're going. Do you have anything else to talk about before?
Yes. Speaking of records and things, I went to my 2 favorite record stores in New York City, Jazz Record Center and Limited to One.
Awesome.
And I did the same thing I did at Limited to One when I was there this summer, where I
didn't buy what you wanted.
Well, no, because his stuff, he's got stuff like that comes in and out all the time.
Yeah.
Like on Tuesday of that week, he posted on Instagram, he got Matchbook Romance's Stories and Alibis on vinyl. And I was like, man, I really hope that's there on Saturday when I get it. Wasn't. Because that's a popular album. It's not going to last. But anyway, so I went through every single LP or like 12-inch record because they're not all LPs, but I went through all of those. I don't ever dig through the 7 inches because there's just too much. Like he's got a ton. But I went through everything, and I didn't really see anything that like jumped out at me.
Yeah.
And so what I did was bought some like cheaper records, like $12, $8, $15, either because of the description he had written on the thing, because he usually puts like what type of music or whatever, like some kind of thing, or like for fans of. Like one of them was like new emo, and I was like, all right, for $12. But I treated it like I did when I was a kid, or like a teenager or whatever. I'm gonna go to like Media Play or whatever, and it was like, I just want to buy some new stuff. That band name sounds cool. I like this album cover. Oh, this is that style of music, or this is this label or whatever. So I did it like that. So I bought like 3 or 4 things that intrigued me in some way, but also I wasn't. If I don't like it, I'm out $8 instead of $50.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I did it. So I'm interested. I listened to one of the things already, and I really like it. So I'm interested to like listen to the others to just see. Hopefully, I like them.
Okay.
So,
Casey.
Yes. Which, by the way,
yeah,
I didn't pay attention because you sent it through. It's like it looked like it was like a split. The way it's listed. Because it's like something, it's like Atone / something or something / Atone, which is just the 2 songs that are on this single or whatever.
Great Grief / Atone.
And so what I thought it was at first was like a split single with the band Atone and the band Great Grief. And I was like, well, I don't know Great Grief, but I'm pretty sure I've heard of Atone. And then as I'm listening, I was like, oh, it's called Casey. The band's Casey. Okay, my bad. Yeah. It is also not, at least the first part of it, like vocally, it was not what I was expecting from you. I didn't expect you to.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. Okay, so this kind of falls into Julian
Baker.
The reason I haven't really had her on the podcast is because it's like it's super sad.
Okay.
Like a lot. Now, this song, I didn't get that, but if you go back to their previous album, which is called Where I Go When I Am Sleeping. Or I should have just said Where I Go When I'm Sleeping instead of the pauses. That whole album is talking about depression. Every single song. The whole time. It is super depressing. And that is the reason that they broke up in 2019.
Okay.
Because Tom Weaver, the lead singer, did not want to sing about his depression anymore.
Sure.
But in December of last year, they announced that they're returning to the music industry, and then they released these 2 songs.
Yeah.
Great Grief and Atone. And I think that Atone is a good representation of the whole band.
Okay.
In one song.
Sure.
Because how many singers do you think they have?
At least 3.
1.
Really?
That's maybe 2.
So I would say of like main singers, like 2, and then there's like there was parts where it sounded like there was at least 3 people singing, but that doesn't like the guitarist sing.
Yeah, yeah.
You sing backup vocals and stuff, but you don't call yourself like the singer in the band.
Yeah.
So
the screamy parts are him, are Tom, and then also a singy part is Tom, and then Toby Evans also does backing vocals, but I don't think that they like step up. And I was like, I need to see this band play. they're not super hyper energetic. I watched a lot of like the live videos that were from their kind of like farewell tour.
Yeah.
And he's like got a mic stand, and then on the mic stand is like a bouquet of flowers.
Okay.
So like almost covering his face. He's not really jumping around, or at least some of the songs, maybe like early in the set, he's not really jumping around. But really cool band, and I think that this song with the screamy vocals, and then kind of like there's like sections of like, here's the screamy part, and then we're gonna sing a little bit, and then like a different voice singing, which could be another singer. Kind of reminds me of things that I listened to in the early 2000s. Okay. I can't quite place like it's that band, but
I mean, it's that kind of like
Thursday
post-hardcore kind of stuff. Yeah.
Which I don't know. I really dig this, and I'm like looking forward to if they're going to make more stuff. And I do go listen to Where I Go when I am sleeping. Go listen to their previous album, Love Is Not Enough. They're both really good, but like they're heavy.
Yeah.
So like be prepared to there was somebody was talking about like music that you shouldn't listen to while there are sharp objects around, or like have somebody around when you're listening to this. Yeah. So
isn't it sort of though like the opposite kind of thing of like when you're in those moods you listen to it's like the blues. It's like the blues singers that was like their
different
thing.
people.
It's like you perform the blues to get rid of your blues.
Yeah.
And in some ways you like perform the sad music to exercise the sadness in a way. Exorcise the sadness,
exercise your demons.
Yeah.
So here is Atone by Casey.
Word.
So you think it sounds like Thrice or Thursday?
Musically, not vocally.
Okay.
Just, you had mentioned it. You were like, who does this remind me of? Maybe them? I can kind of hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first was listening to this, I was like, oh, it's surprising that this is a song that Bo, like just vocally, this is not this type of stuff.
100%.
But
this is not.
When it gets away from those vocals, then yes, 100%.
It's more. When I heard this, I'm like, this reminds me of early 2002 for me, or like early 2000s. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
This is good. Let's see how long this will last. Which is like, oh, well, this is now like the next third of the song.
Yeah. This is like right up my alley.
Also, the vocabulary. Like, there's words you got to look up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still not quite, I'm talking over it, so I'm not catching all the lyrics and stuff, but. I was wondering how this part would sound in the headphones because I was listening in my car.
Yeah.
Which is good speakers, but not the best listening environment necessarily like when you're driving.
This is super compressed, by the way.
The vocals sounded maybe a little bit too far back for me.
I agree.
They could still be a little more forward, but in the headphones it's better.
Yeah.
There's somebody else that it's giving me vibes of. I can like even hear the song, but I cannot place who it is off the top of my head. But not derivative in any way, just like, it kind of makes you think of another thing. Like, I almost feel bad sometimes when we say that. I don't know. It's like
everything is like there's
there's just so much. First of all, you know what I mean. Like, and like we've listened to a lot of things, and I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of like nothing is wholly original.
Yeah,
it's all like the music that you would create is based on who you've listened to,
right?
And what you've liked
or whatever of all those things, But it almost feel like in some ways I feel bad. How do I want to say this? So like Sweet Pill we had on a couple weeks ago, which by the way, lead singer listened to the episode and shared, so thank you for that. But like comparing them to Pool Kids and to Church Girls,
Yeah.
Just because you have like a girl singer, but like it's, but you know what I mean. But it's not like that's not the only reason. But also like because of that factor, it's going to have a little bit of that, you know. And yeah, they know each other, and I'm sure they consider each other influences and whatever. But yeah, I'm also curious to hear more of them, especially if they're going to be a band again. Yes, I like this song a lot. And what's the album? The one you said, like, definitely check that one out.
Both of them.
Well, sure. There's
just listen to the band. Where I Go When I Am Sleeping, right. I think that's like
that sounds familiar.
Great, just front to back, really good. And Love Is Not Enough. One came out in 2016. Love Is Not Enough, and then Where I Go When I'm Sleeping is 2018. Super heavy.
Emery is who they're giving me a little bit of vibes from. But okay,
they have these 2 songs on the album. Well, I should say 3. So it's like Fluorescent. The next track is And.
Okay.
And then Phosphorescence? No. Phosphines.
Okay.
Phosphenes.
Okay.
And like that's like the And is just like the transition between the 2 songs. So it's really probably like just one big song that's Fluorescence and Phosphines.
Yeah.
They definitely all 3 things sound different, and that you're chunking them, they do feel differently. But it's a great album. But as I said before, it's super heavy.
Yeah.
And not like heavy as in like no,
you mean heavy as in like lyrical content and stuff.
Yeah.
But look at this thing I made.
It's been years in the making.
Yeah.
So,
for those that don't know, I've taken a dowel rod thing. Oh, so this happens sometimes, by the way. It sounded like my phone was ringing for a second.
Yeah.
It's just my friend Mike reacting to all the TikToks that I sent
him
okay. in quick succession, so it makes it sound like the phone's ringing. But I took staples and put them around a dowel rod, and now it's a weapon. Of tiny destruction.
Yeah. So I was listening to, I'm always listening to podcasts, but one that I'm catching up on is Corey Wong. So I'm like a year behind.
Okay.
Like 2021
his
episodes.
podcast is one that I only drop into if I'm like, I want to hear him talk to that person.
Yeah.
So I skip a lot of them.
Well, I'm a guitar player, so
right.
like
so
I listen
most
to
people
that.
he talks to are specifically guitar players.
One that I have been looking forward to as I'm going through. I listen to all the current episodes, but then I go back when I am caught up with all my current list things to listen to earlier. I'm also listening to Broken Record with Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, I stopped subscribing to that just because I never listened to it. Yeah, it just was like filling up my thing. I'm like, I'm just gonna stop.
I mean, it started in like 2015, so I'm real far behind.
That would be another one where I would just drop in on like whoever or whatever they're talking about. But
and Rick Rubin is he's like in 2 episodes in the early, and then I think now he's more.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of the videos that I've seen, and the reason that I'm into it is because there's like videos of him talking with people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to hear that conversation, because in front of me I've got his new book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being, which is super hippie, meditative, inspirational quotes. It's good. But I was listening to Corey Wong's podcast, and he had Michael Leagues on it. Michael League.
Yeah.
And he brings up our next artist, and this is like 2 years ago, and he's like, "Oh, he's this old, and he'll be creating until he dies," which he was, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So
David Crosby is the main person.
I have a really. There was a meme that I saw. It was really bad though.
Okay.
It wasn't because it was David. It said like "Rest in Peace, David Crosby," but the picture wasn't
David Crosby.
No, it was somebody whose name would rhyme with David Crosby.
Oh, that's a bad person.
That's a bad person.
Oh, well, maybe that person should go away. Anyway, so yeah, David Crosby. As we record this, he just passed away just a few days ago. I'll admit I've known who he is through like his work in the 60s and 70s and whatever, but I wasn't like a big
I couldn't
Crosby, Stills and Nash fan or Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young or was he in the Byrds before that? I think
Yardbirds, the Byrds.
I think it was the Byrds. But whatever, like I just wasn't like up on his stuff, and it wasn't until 5-6 years ago now when he was on Family Dinner Volume 2, which is the second
Byrds.
Snarky Puppy album that they did with singers. Where they basically like reinvent one of the singer's songs.
Yeah.
And then that particular one, they also had like guest artists and stuff. That was when I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. David Crosby. Like, yeah, I should like kind of check out some more of his stuff. And then because of that led to him sort of collaborating with Michael League and Becca Stevens and Michelle Willis, who is the band, plus David Crosby. That's the band that's on this album. But they had done an album prior to this also called Lighthouse, and so they sort of refer to themselves as like the Lighthouse Band. David Crosby's done a few different things in like the past several years. He's done these 2 albums, Here If You Listen and Lighthouse, with sort of this Lighthouse Band, and then he has like another band that he's been doing stuff with, which is just like I think more of his like normal band. Maybe his son's in it too. I don't know all the details, but he's kind of become part of like the Ground Up family, like which is Snarky Puppy's music label, like record label and stuff. And like a lot of the artists that are either in Snarky or just related to it, like have done different things with him. They've released some music and like most, like again, just because of people that I follow on social media, like a lot of those artists were paying their own tributes because they had sort of become friends and collaborators and different things in the last few years. You were saying about Michael League mentioning about David Crosby on the podcast. When David Crosby a few years ago was on Mark Maron's podcast, WTF, which is a big old podcast, he mentions Michael League, and he even says to like Mark, like, you should interview that guy.
Yeah.
Like he's got this band Snarky Puppy and like this whole thing, and like you should, and I don't, he hasn't, but should, because you know it's just
he's not big enough.
Well, you know, he is in some ways, but but yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool that David Crosby gave him a shout out. You know, David Crosby's had his own big life musically and otherwise, and so yeah, I think he's one of like the great voices. I think a lot of people consider him. I think he sings like a lot of the harmony stuff on like the Crosby, Stills and Nash things. Like he obviously sang lead on certain things, but I think he was like known for kind of being like a really good harmony singer and good songwriter and guitar player and stuff. But I think like in let's say like the last 10 years, he's kind of taken on that like sage role of like, I'm the guy who's been around for a long time.
Kind of like Willie Nelson.
Yeah. I'm still creating and I'm still doing things, but also I want to like support others and help others. And like, I don't care that you're some nobody, but if I like your music and I like you, I'm going to do what I can. If it's just have a meal with you, if it's write a song with you, sing on your thing, invite you to play with me, like that kind of stuff. Like even Sammy Ray posted a thing. She like, they kind of ran into each other like a recording studio or something. And like, he was like, do you have any candy? And she's like, I got these like sour Skittles. And he was like into that. And then he like made her come sit down with him at the table, and they shared like his cold macaroni that was like in the fridge at this thing, and just kind of chatted. And she's like, we got to sing some songs for him on his guitar for like an hour, and he just encouraged us and whatever. And like then we made this their first EP, and it was like that was, you know, it's just like all these different things and all the Ground Up people and stuff. And Michelle Willis, who we've talked about, who's on this album, but she I think kind of became part of Cros's band, separate from Michael League and Becca Stevens, who are sort of this lighthouse band. Like she was going on tour with him with all of his music and stuff and doing things, and he was encouraging her a lot and doing different things on her new album. And so he's just kind of became this guru and different stuff. So yeah, like a really positive influence. So have you heard any of this album?
No, just this song.
It's great. I love this album so much. I got to see them on this tour. They came through Harrisburg. They played at Whitaker Center. I actually got food poisoning from the meal I had before that concert, and was like really ill, but I was able to like tough it out, if you will, and be present for the whole concert, and then immediately like die. But yeah, it was so phenomenal. The 4 of them are incredible, and then you put them together and it's just magic. So this is the first track, Glory, off of Here If You Listen. The other cool thing about this album and the other album that the four of them did together is like, even though it's his name, he very much views it as like a band record, if that makes sense. Yeah. This is Becca Stevens, by the way.
Okay.
I love her as well. And Michelle Willis joins in for more harmony.
Those harmonies are very interesting. Like not like interesting, but like they remind me of the 60s type.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle Willis is playing the Rhodes on this.
Yeah.
And then Becca's also playing hammer-tone electric guitar.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what that is.
No, you can't lose me.
And that's Michelle Willis, who we've heard on the podcast before.
Yep.
She's one of my favorite voices of all time.
Can't find your way out. Let me be. Let me be. Glory in the sky. Glory in the sky. Circling your shadow. Cradling the light. Glory.
I love the use of the Rhodes as the bass also. That's kind of a cool thing. Michael League's playing some form of guitar on this.
He's playing
Baritone, maybe? This
No.
might have been in his baritone phase, but...
no, on here, on this track, he's playing acoustic gutar. He's playing mini Moog bass.
Oh, so that's the mini Moog bass.
He's
then. Okay,
also
it's not
playing
the Rhodes,
electric
but that makes
bass.
sense. Okay.
So he did a lot of overdubs.
But that boo-doo, that's the mini Moog then. Okay, not the Rhodes. Makes more sense, actually. But I like the use of that instead of just the regular bass, you know?
Oh, yeah. Get a different bass sound.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always have to be a bass guitar.
Yeah.
Let me take your hand.
Yeah, in this opening track of this quote-unquote David Crosby album, he is sung the least, other than Michael League, you know? But, like, that's cool.
But his voice is on there, too.
It is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, Michael League hasn't sung any solo stuff, you know?
Yeah.
He only sings, like, a little bit on a couple tracks, but...
Stumbles in the sand to carry you home.
On the Family Dinner album that they did with him, too, his track is probably the least changed of anything. It's like the least snarky puppy sounding thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly just him, and then they just kind of like accompany him in
Yeah.
like a typical style. And I don't think it's... I think it was just more reverence to him in a way. I don't know the real reasoning behind it, but it just was like... No, it just sounds like kind of like David Crosby thing that this just happens to be the band.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. And he like tells like a little story about some of the things he's learned over the years, and I've heard other interviews with him and stuff, and like he's also like the first to admit like I should have died a lot of times in my life, like from drugs and from drinking and other things, and just like other bad choices in his life and whatever. But he was also like super grateful then to be alive and to have lived what he did and been able to create in the ways he has. There's a documentary or something that
Yeah, I saw
recently
that.
came out, I think.
2019?
Okay, that seems right.
Crap, where are you? Because it said...
I haven't seen it. I'd like to.
Where are you?
Yeah, I love this album so much.
I didn't see.
I really, really like it. I finally got it on vinyl like a year ago, not even, like a few months ago, actually. I just was like, wait, why don't I have this? And then it was like hard to find because it had been out for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just beautiful stuff. So yeah, rest in peace, David Crosby. I should go back and listen to
All of his stuff.
Yeah.
The Birds. Crosby, Stills, Nash. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Do you know why that became a band?
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe I do. But,
they just wanted to play together.
Okay.
But they were all on different record labels.
Uh-huh.
So it was like a pain in the ass. Like they had to like it was weird how they got like why they became Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Uh-huh.
Because they were allowed to be like their own names or something like that. I forget exactly. But like there was a big issue, and then like they were all just like lead people, but like when they sang together it was good.
Yeah.
But then when Young came in the band, it was like kind of like
different.
He kind of was a troublemaker within the band.
Okay.
And actually, no, he wanted equal billing. So they wanted to go on tour with Neil Young, but Neil Young wanted equal billing as them. So they're like, all right, then it's Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Okay.
It was weird how he joined the band.
Yeah. And I know they each had like issues with each other at different times.
Because they're all lead people.
Sure. Yeah.
It's called David Crosby, Remember My Name.
Okay.
It came out in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to see. Usually Mark Maron will like repost old interviews.
Yeah, when something happens.
Somebody passes away. I wonder if. Oh, I don't. No, don't do that. Don't. I didn't notice if he did that or not. I didn't get a lot of like podcast listening time in this week.
Yeah.
So I'll have to see.
I did it over the last weekend because I drove across the state, so that was caught up a little bit. But I don't feel like I actually did any. I did a thing that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I did my first over the internet collaboration.
Oh. So
I had this idea, and I totally gave it the wrong name. And initially, but what it was is I did.
You opened a barbershop and you called it Bo's Cuts.
Yeah, exactly.
With a Z.
Definitely with a Z. So the initial idea was like I wrote, and this is all like generative ambient stuff. And the initial idea was like you create one in each mode.
Okay.
And then you place it into an order that actually feels like I didn't really think like I was creating it while I was thinking of the process or the concept. So then you play it, and then you have the whole thing, which it's 22 minutes long, but it's separated into 7 pieces.
Okay.
I should have like actually put them as timed as well, and like I screwed up. I'm gonna do it again. It's gonna be another record. And then I gave these people, but what I gave them the files, and then they just added stuff on top of it. And mine was more rhythmic and more melodic, but not like any structure whatsoever. It's another kind of like you just sit and chill and listen to it. But then you bounce just all 22 minutes, and then you flip it.
Okay.
And then so it's all backwards.
Okay.
But if you were to then flip the whole thing, it would be pretty similar to the way that it's forwards. So it's a palindrome.
Okay.
So that's the album name is Palindrome.
Okay.
So releasing it one at a time, but it's like starting with the end.
Okay.
And then the next one is the one previous to that. So like if you listen to an order, they kind of flow together a little bit, but also if you flip it, you'll already be able to hear the beginning of the album partially because I added drums to it, but only the drums kind of like go the forward way. They don't really go to the backwards way. I'm going to redo it. It's going to be a Palindromes too.
Sure.
But
Taco Cat.
What?
Taco Cat.
Taco Cat.
Yeah.
All the names of the tracks are palindromes, but they're not just like one word. They're not like race car.
Yeah.
It's like, crap, I can't think of any of them off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But they're all palindromes. Dromes.
There's a story from like some old like elementary school like English book or whatever. It's called Otto is a Palindrome. And I don't know why I remember that, but I do remember it. And it's about this girl, Hannah, and this boy Otto is making fun of her because he finds out that Hannah is a palindrome. He's like making fun of, but he doesn't actually like know what a palindrome is. He just is like making fun of her. And then you find out that Otto is also a palindrome.
Yeah.
And that's the story. Otto's a palindrome.
So on February 17th, and then every 2 weeks, there'll be a new track. But the first track is Evil is a Name of a Foeman As I Live, which is a palindrome. They're all palindromes. Murder for a Jar of Red Rum. Live not on evil. Ah, Satan sees Natasha. Madame, in Eden I'm Adam. Name not one man. And then the whole record will be out May 12th. Never odd or even. And the two other artists are The Humble Season and A Year's Reign.
Okay.
So it's a pain in the ass to like put it all together, do all the paperwork, but working with them was like great.
Nice.
So go out, check out their stuff if you're into like ambient guitar.
Is Echoes in the Well House.
Yes, this is Echoes in the Well House. I don't release it or anything else.
I just was making sure.
Until we started our pop punk band. Let's make Bright Side a little bit more pop punk.
It's not really a pop punk song.
It's not, but
they didn't do anything to it. They just like thought they were singing like pop punk people, but they
one guy was kind of,
yeah.
But it's like, well, you're just singing it. You're not changing the song.
Yeah,
I think that's just a karaoke track.
Yeah, that whole thing was kind of. I didn't actually watch the whole thing until I saw the person's reaction to it, where he was like, "This is all these people's favorite pop punk band," and then it's like all just not pop punk. The first one's like Mumford and Sons.
No, it was.
Yeah, that was funny. So
yeah.
Cool. Thanks, TikTok, for providing us with
so
lots of time.
Why do I have City of Night? Anyway, something's coming out this Friday, maybe a different piece. More
Cool.
drop.
Did you listen to the Palette Knife album?
Yeah, I
didn't listen to it yet.
It's good.
As we're recording this, it's been out for like 3 days. No, 2 days. So
yeah,
I'm off the hook for not listening to it, but I want to listen.
No, I listened to it, and then I
also referencing last week's episode. I still have not finished the Beatles documentary from forever ago.
From
2020, 2021,
2021, Thanksgiving 2021.
Yeah, I still haven't finished it.
Wow, dude.
I haven't even like tried. I haven't even like gone back to it.
I mean, you watch one. I don't think that, don't worry about it, man.
I'll get to it.
But definitely go see the Meet the Beat-Alls episode of Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Season 3, episode 12.
Cool. All right, thanks for listening.
Remember,
go on social media.
Subscribe if you haven't already.
Share.
Subscribe.
Any engagement is good engagement.
Yeah, it really does help us.
Do you know what's the best engagement? Like 5-star reviews and whatever. Like review us on whatever platform you listen on.
Yep. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Hit that like button. And if you really hate us, hit that down dislike twice.
Oh, yeah.
Because the second time it gets rid of it the first time.
Yeah.
And then hit it an even amount of times.
Cool.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.